Hey guys, Monochrome here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Genuinely good to have you. Guys, one of the things I can't stand is when someone introduces a truly excellent concept, but the execution turns out to be piss poor. Mostly because they cheap out, or the build quality is far from fantastic. In this case, both. And I want to highlight this product because I'm really hoping that maybe someday someone will give this excellent concept the execution that it deserves, instead of the one that currently exists. This is a box showing the Wedge, or as it is sometimes listed, the security wedge. Now, the wedge is a really excellent concept. It's basically a doorstop wedge and alarm in one. So instead of being used to hold a door open from the outside of the door, the wedge is designed to be placed underneath a closed door. And if someone tries coming in through that door when they have no business being there, for example, a woman's bedroom and there's a home intruder, or a business traveler staying at a hotel or motel, place the wedge inside the room or from inside the room right up against the door. Anyone tries coming in, an alarm goes off. Now that is an absolutely excellent concept for a passive self-defense item. Passive usually being some sort of alarm or noisemaker, basically something that lets you or people around you know that someone with ill intent is trying to do you harm. But being a passive self-defense item, you can't really use it to hurt your attacker. A gun is not a passive self-defense item. Pepper spray is not a passive self-defense item. But this is definitely, in concept, one of the best passive self-defense items I have ever heard of in concept. Now let's take a look at the execution. And you first notice issues when you take a look at the box. Take a look at this box very carefully. Notice anything about the box? I sure did. One big red flag. There is no branding anywhere on this box. All we know is that the wedge is made in China. Now, this is not a very expensive item, but I would have happily paid more money to get something that was built properly instead of to an extremely low price point with extremely piss-poor construction. But yeah, when you have a company that's embarrassed to put their logo or their brand name on the box, huge red flag. Huge. So let's take a look at it. This is the wedge, or the security wedge. And this is, it's a piece of folded metal here, thin metal, as you can see. And this is the clunkiest, cheapest plastic I have ever encountered in a very long time. Let's take a look at your options. Okay. Here's the sensitivity, or how loud the alarm is if someone tries coming into your room with the wedge propped up underneath the door. You got high, medium, low. Yeah, the low is surprisingly loud, and that's a good thing because the other two settings, high and medium, they don't work. Yeah, you can definitely move this little sliding bar across, but the other two settings don't work. So thankfully low works, or maybe there was a translation issue and the L is supposed to stand for loud. But okay, so you got one setting that definitely works, and it is pretty loud. Let me demonstrate it. Again, this is going to be loud, so this is your warning. I'm going to demonstrate it in just a second, just holding it here. Here we go. And, well, there's the first issue. The mechanism is unreliable. Let's try it again. Oh, come on. I had this thing working. It does run off of a very easy to find 9-volt battery. Same type of battery in the smoke detector in your home. And hopefully you've changed that battery recently. If you haven't, might want to look into that. But yeah, this is not the actual full back. I took the back off, and it is rubberized, so that's a good thing. Let me show you what that looks like. There's the rubberized back, or more realistically, the rubberized bottom. And this will never work in this position. And I'll show you why in just a moment. But first, let's take this rubberized bottom or back off. There's the 9-volt battery. Yes, it is properly connected. Okay. Sorry about that. Like I said, this mechanism is unreliable. Again, build quality issue. And as you can see, it's going off without me even pushing down on the wedge. That time it went off properly. So the mechanism is unreliable. The construction is clunky. This thing is very inexpensive, but I think we can all agree we'd all happily spend a little bit more money if it worked reliably. And again, only the L setting works properly. But thankfully, it is loud enough on that setting that if you're asleep and someone's trying to bust down your hotel or motel room door, you'll wake up and hear it. Over here we have another setting, on and off. That setting definitely works. That's probably the most reliable thing about this product. So, why is the mechanism unreliable? Well, One of the biggest reasons, in case you hadn't noticed, is that the reason why I took the bottom off of this thing is because this entire time, when this thing has been facing this way, I've basically been holding the 9-volt battery in place with either my thumb or one of my fingers. Now, why am I doing that? This is why. Yeah. Build quality. It's important. So, whoever built this thing was a freaking idiot who couldn't use a ruler because the battery literally drops out. Now keep in mind, when this 9-volt battery, which does come with it, you absolutely get a battery. Battery is included. Yes, I'm reaching for anything positive to say about this clunky piece of junk. At least, that's my opinion, that it's a clunky piece of junk, and that's what I'm expressing on my channel. But I think I'm doing a good job of showing you guys why it's a clunky piece of junk, in my humble opinion. Here's the thing. When you have this rubberized back or bottom snapped in place, the battery doesn't fall out, but it falls down just enough that the contacts aren't making a connection. So here it is again. I'm pushing down the battery as hard as I can, and that time it went off. Yes, very unreliable in my humble opinion. Let me put that on there. That is on there. As you can see, the rubberized bottom is not falling out. Let's put that down. And here's me pumping away on this wedge, and it's not going off. And it will never go off because, again, when you open this thing up, the battery falls out. And when this is on there, covering up the battery opening, the battery, gravity has an effect on it. Yeah. This is what bothers me, guys. There are a lot of people who, for misguided reasons, will not actively defend themselves from a threat, or they're too afraid to do so, and they don't want to do anything to change that situation. So for them, the only solution is passive self-defense measures. Now, passive self-defense measures can work sometimes. You have a individual who wants your wallet. Okay, you carry a throwaway or throw-down wallet. You pull that out, you let them know, hey, this is everything I have, please don't hurt me. Fling the wallet to one side, go running and screaming like a lunatic in the opposite direction. I covered that in a previous video. That is a passive self-defense technique, and it's usually very effective. When you have something like this, the concept is excellent, absolutely excellent. This is a great way to be able to sleep when you're traveling, staying at a hotel or motel, or for a woman who, well, put this wedge Again, we're going to make believe it works reliably. She puts this wedge from the inside of her bedroom underneath her bedroom door, and it's going to alert her that someone's trying to break in. What happens afterwards? Well, you're going to have to take more active self-defense measures once this thing wakes you up. Assuming it worked properly, assuming it wasn't a cheaply made, in my humble opinion, piece of freaking junk that's not even worth $1. The freaking battery, this cheap generic battery, is better made than this. So yeah, guys, watch out for the Wedge or the security wedge. Don't waste your money. Please stay safe out there.